Hey everybody, I'm here with this little black book. I'm going to try to make this video as short as I can, but I want to explain a little bit, but I just don't do tutorials well. I just don't have the setup for it, but so many are interested in how this came to be, so I'll try to tell just a little bit as I go along, just quickly, because I want to make this kind of short. First I want to address the images and quotes and poems and things that I use. So many people message me and ask where I get my things. Well, I've collected those things since I was 10 years old, and I'm coming up on 74 in November. So I have many, many years of collections in boxes of all these old poems, and it's the old stuff that I really liked. So that's where I get most of mine, but you can get them on Pinterest and online, but you have to look for free printables or royalty free. Make sure it's that. And you have to really watch that, because sometimes you'll see something that's royal free, or it'll say free printables, but then you'll see it later where it has a copyright on it in another page or something on Pinterest. So you do have to be careful. But anyway, this is what we've got here. I'll tell you how this book came to be. I was making a special order for a friend, Tina, and it was a 3-piece order, and she had specific things, readings and all kinds of things that she wanted in it. And there was one that I thought of that I wanted to put in it, and I couldn't find it in my boxes. Oh my goodness, I was getting so tired of looking. That's what I spend most of my time doing, looking for one specific thing. So I couldn't find it. And I went on Pinterest. I thought, well, maybe it's on there, and I can just type it in my own font on the thing Kim put on my computer. So I went over there and was looking around, and I saw an old book that looked a lot like this. Anyway, you know how you just see something and it'll just get your creative juices to flowing. It'll just jog something in your mind, and off you go on a project. So I thought, oh my gosh, I've got to try to make that book. We didn't have any idea, because it looked so much like this. I didn't have any idea how to do it, and I was on a project then, so I put that aside for then, and then I kept thinking about the book, and I got hers off, and I even sat down and made a small book to go in her bundle like this, similar to this. It didn't have all the stuff in it, but it was a book on this order, and that was pretty easy. I don't know. It must have been a God thing. God was thinking, you're going to go the extra mile here and give her a little bit of extra something you thought of. So I'm going to help you knock this out real quick, and let's get this done and get this package on the way. So God and I got that one done pretty quick. But I don't know where he was when I was trying to make the others, because I have had a terrible time. I tore out the pieces for 10 of these little books, because so many people liked the picture that I posted of Tina's and wanted one. So I cut out all the black and all this stuff for all of these little books and all the pages and all this. And then I sat down to do one, and I'm telling you the truth, was that a nightmare. I could not get it like I did Tina's. I couldn't get it to look right. I started out by mixing paints, black and a little brown, to try to get the shade right, so it was not a black. It was an old, kind of a charcoal weathered look, and even on hers. And gosh, I just don't know. I just couldn't get it right. I started this little book over 3 times, and I was about ready to throw in the towel, and I thought, no, I'm not going to quit on this, because I want to do it so bad. So I just kept working and kept working and kept working. What I ended up doing after a day and a half of trying to get the cover right, and here's the back cover. What I ended up doing, oh, there's Lent. What I ended up doing was taking a picture of the first book that I did right, and I shrunk the picture down on my computer, and I'm just using that printed copy for these books. So, and it looks good. It feels good. It feels so soft. It feels old. It doesn't feel like a book that I sit down and made at the kitchen table last week and week before, or this week and week before this. It feels like a really old book. Let's get inside here. Let me tell you on the label thing. I put a to get this is not writing. This doesn't say anything. It was done with pencil, and then I antiqued over it really heavy. I put a little bit of a red rim around it, which you can't even hardly see now that it's weathered and antiqued and aged and all that. But I just used a red colored pencil to kind of go around that to give a little, because most of those old-timey labels did have a little bit of red on that line around there. So I put a little bit of red there, but now I've antiqued that so heavy. So what I did with these covers, I took them to the workshop. I put the printed thing, I tore it to size, put it down, took it out to the workshop, did the back also, took it out to my husband's workshop and sanded it on the sander. Now that wasn't even easy because, you know, you have to get it to look authentically aged, not just sanded and tattered and torn. So I would do the edges. I mean, I would work forever on one thing here. And I would sand little holes and things in it to make it look like it was worn and all that. Did the back too. The back is not as worn as the front. But as someone said when I was talking about I was having such trouble with the covers, they said, well, now the back won't be as worn on an old book as the front if it's laying face up. So anyway, I let that go. So that's what I did with the cover. This is a picture, a printed off copy of the first book I made that was right. So that's what we've got there. This is a grandpa's logbook, and that's what I wanted to make. I wanted to make an old book that looked like it was a grandpa's logbook that was found in an old barn, and I wanted that logbook to be over 100 years old. So first I made it and just put some old man stuff in it, some old almanac stuff, and I don't know what all tool stuff. That's left a little bit of that in there. And I thought, no, it just doesn't have any personality. It's a gorgeous old aged book, but something is missing here. And I see that needs aged a little bit more, and I'll go over that when I get off of here. But so that looks good or authentic. But so then I was still looking for something to put on here, and I found these some bee images, and so I printed off a couple of them, and I thought, you know, back in the day, a lot of grandpas, dads and grandpas, were beekeepers. So, because that was a thing back then. So I put a few bee things in here and kind of made it a bee journal. These pages are just a stamp that I bought at Hobby Lobby a while back that was on sale half price, and it is just writing. It doesn't say anything either, but that's on every page. Here's just some old advertising that I tore out, and tattered and tore the edges a little bit. Another one on the other side. Some of these pages don't have anything in them. Just a few of them don't have anything in it. There's a little bit more on the honeybee. This thing in the front was interesting. It says, if the bee disappeared off the surface of the globe, then man would have only 4 years of life left. No more bees, no more pollination, no more plants, no more animals, no more man. And that's by Albert Einstein. I thought that was really neat. So, but I am going to age that a little bit more. This is an obituary of sorts that I found or a news story that I found, and it was about a beekeeper that a bunch of bees, he was a beekeeper, and he was known throughout the country where he lived for being a great beekeeper. And at his funeral, just thousands of bees showed up and just swarmed the tent. Said they didn't bother anybody, but they were there for the man's funeral. So this is just the little tool thing that I started out with in the beginning. I had several of those in here. This is just an old rag. Did you ever see a grandpa that didn't have an old rag in his hand or in his pocket or something? So I stuck one in this book, and that's just an old piece of fabric. Actually, it was an old shirt that I just buy old shirts and dresses and things at yard sales. Haven't been to any this year because of the pandemic, but I have tons. But I buy anything like that that has an old-timey print. So that was an old shirt, and I just tore it up and aged it, put it in the book, because Grandpa always had a rag on him. This is a ration, because everything I try to do is from 1942 or thereabouts. And so we're saying this Grandpa lived in 1942, but this is an old book even to Grandpa of 1942. So, you know, the war and all that back then, so he had a ration card. So I put just some old rusty paper clips and things in here. This is a packet of mustard seed that Grandpa had. It actually has mustard seed in it. You can feel it. They're there somewhere. There they are. And so that's just a pack that he tucked there until he gets time to put them in the garden. This is just a piece of tissue paper that I put in there, and I just age everything. I dunk everything in coffee. I just use leftover coffee every morning. I age paper almost every morning, bake it in the oven almost every morning, just what I need for that day. And then I age it a little bit more with Tim Holtz stain. But I'm about to go to brown shoe polish because I don't have a lot of luck with Tim Holtz stain. And one of the ladies, a friend in our Junk Journal with Grandma's page, said she uses brown shoe polish. And I have some of her work, and it looks great. So I'm going to that after this. So there's just another little strip I put there for just like a paper marker or something, a page marker. This is where the paper was torn, so I just put a couple of people strips there. I'm tongue-tied. I'm trying to hurry. This is out of an old almanac that Grandpa just tucked in there. This is a page out of an old dictionary about old cougars and cats and things. This is a poem about bees. Grandpa wouldn't have kept a whole lot of things like Grandma would have, but, you know, once in a while, Grandpa's had a warm heart and all that, too. So once in a while, he would have something like that. And this is just some pages, little notes to if he needs something to write on. This is an old-age pencil. Somebody said the pencil didn't look that old. Well, in person, it really does because the whole thing is sanded down, even the little metal piece here and the eraser, and then it's stained. So then there's a notepad down here. And it's just paper clipped together because Grandpa wouldn't have had fabric and everything on there and had it all fancy. A pen with a little bell that Grandpa just stuck there as a little tool piece, two little tool pieces out of his barn or shop, and another paper clip in case he needs it for later. And then the back, and that's it. This book is about 4x7. I mean about 4x6, yeah, 4x6 or 4x7. It's hard to tell with all the different size pages and all that. This book took, I don't know how many hours, 4 days all day. Oops, there goes the camera. 4 days working all day long. Whoops, there it goes again. Hang on, stay with me. Stay with me. You got an old church lady here flubbing up the video. Okay. Anyway, I worked 4 days all day long and then other hours just here and there when I could. So I have put a lot of time in this book. One thing about anything that I make, I go the extra mile, and I will always go the extra mile. And if it's not right, if, you know, like I got it done and with the tools and all that, and I thought, no, that's not right, because even with the tools, and it had quite a bit in it of things like that, but it still had no personality. I started adding the little bee things, and it just came to life. So that's it. Go to my Grandma page, Grandma group. It's Junk Journals from Grandma with Love on Facebook. There's almost 600 of us there. We're a small group, really, but we're a very friendly group. We say that we are the friendliest junk journal group on Facebook, and I hope we are. You can just jump on there any time of the day or almost night, and if you have a question, somebody's going to come along and answer it for you. There is no competition on our page. It is a family-oriented page where moms, grandmas, crafters, great-grandmas, you know, homemakers, and some of us are making junk journals. Hang on there. It's one of those stink bugs. You got to see the stink bug of Round Knob Canyon, and I'm going to get him before he gets away. Okay. We are just friends. We have become really true friends, and you just come on there. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we do a question of the day, and it's sometimes it's related to junk journals, but sometimes it's just fun, like what was for supper last night or what's going to be for supper tonight. One of the friends asked this morning if tomorrow's question could be, how did you come to get your name? What does your name mean? What does it mean to you? How did it come about? And so we're going to do that question today. It's just, you know, sometimes it's, where are you from? Where in the world are you? Where in the world are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your hobbies, your family, anything you want us to know. We just do fun things on that page. There is no selling on that page. I put my books on there, and that's the reason I made the page. But it is just a fun, and we learn together. We have challenges and things, and we made a book together in August of 2019, and I'm telling you the truth, those women made some of the most beautiful old-aged books in 5 days. We did 5 videos, 1 video a day, and we just work on a page a day. And at the end of that week, there were some outstanding books. It was just unreal. So I hope you'll follow us there, Junk Journals from Grandma with Love. If you're interested in this book, you can, my link will be below, Kay Comer on Facebook. You can private message me or come and join our group. We'd love to have you there. Just type it in and we'll click you in as soon as we see it. Also subscribe to the channel. We're growing slowly, but we're growing. And I have a storytelling page, the Encouragers Club on Facebook. I encourage you to join me there. It's funny stories, true life stories, just all kinds of stuff. Today I told the story of the murder of my husband's best friend 40 years ago this month. And my goodness, what a shock that was. And so I give a little bit of detail there. That's just, I do that every couple of years at this time. But it's usually funny stuff, uplifting stuff, recipes, home remedies for dry skin in the winter, all kinds of things, because I also do holistic wellness type stuff, and I've studied that since 1977. So I have a website for that, lovehomeandhealth.com. We're about to have a website for the junk journals and the storytelling together, and it's going to be called, I think, A Simple Woman's Journal. So I'll let you know when we have that. Let's see, 16 minutes, coming up on 17 minutes into this. I think that's it. This book was so hard. I started out thinking I was going to make 10 little $25 books because so many love them. And, you know, I like to do things reasonably priced because I'm a tightwad. But, you know, I can't sit and work on a book for a week pretty well nonstop and sell it for $25. I just can't do that. But come on over and see what you think. It's an absolutely fantastic book. Make a great, great coffee table book. Give you something to look at and kind of figure out how you can make an aged book. These pages are just every one of them are just dunked in coffee, baked in the oven. I bake them in the oven for 3 minutes at 350, but now all ovens vary, so you have to be careful. But that's what I do. And then if I want them to look really dark, I dunk them and bake them again. So sometimes I have to do that. I like the really aged things. And I've done a lot of cutesy books lately, little tiny books, rabbits and all kinds of things, the Country Kitchen Witch and all that. But I'm going back to the grandma style, the really authentic, aged, true-to-life grandma style books, at least for a while. And I'm going to do some small ones. But I hope you'll come and join us on all these sites. All the links will be below. Thank you for watching, and I appreciate you all so much. Tell all your friends about me where you can. I know we're not supposed to post in the most of the groups, but when you can, tell a friend about us and invite them to join us all too. Okay, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching, and I love you all.